Okay, hello, my darlings. It's Michaela. So, I just wanted to share some quick tips for the holidays, for a holiday. It's really great to do a high intensity workout on the day of a holiday, on the day of a feast. And the reason why is because high intensity intervals, typically that type of training is 20 to 30 minutes, and there is an element of intensity to it. With that intensity, when we ask for fuel quickly, it pulls from sugar, and it pulls from sugar from our muscle cells. Basically, it will pull from stored glycogen from our muscle cells, and with that, there will be the need to replenish those stores. So it's perfect to have a feast, which is typically rich in carbohydrates, directly thereafter. Plus, it's also a great move because generally on holidays, people don't have a lot of time. But 20 to 30 minutes, something they can do at home with their body weight, tends to be less of an objection, and it's really a great move that really serves us. Number two would be to not have breakfast. And so this is super easy for myself and my fat burners. We're used to doing this after a certain point. Once we get our bodies in a fat burning mode, we use bulletproof coffee basically each and every day. But for the mere mortals, this can still be a great move to just have coffee. If coffee is what you have, typically, or potentially just to go without. The deal is, this is often more of a mental thing than anything else. A feast is coming. And so having a bit of coffee, I'll say, with heavy cream would be amazing, tends to enable us to just kind of curb our appetite, have a little calories, but to not break a fast and to not need a real deal meal. Every time we eat, our blood sugar rises, and with it, insulin as well. Insulin is a fat storing hormone, and it's also a fat burning blocking hormone. And this is why eating less often is a really useful tactic when we want to lose weight. So this is super easy to do when you're in a fat burning mode, but even when you're not, it's not the craziest thing in the world to not have breakfast, especially when you're not hungry, or to not have breakfast when you know that a huge meal is right around the corner. All right? Do what you need to do, listen to your body, but consider that if it seems like a comfortable possibility for you. Number three is to buffer your carbohydrates. So when you do get to your meal, make sure you have fat, fiber, protein, or an acid before you embark upon the carbohydrates. So before you just, stick your hand in the bowl of chips or race for the crackers or bread or whatever the heck it is that's carbohydrate primarily, make a point to have fat, fiber, a protein, or acid, citrus juices, lemon juice, lime juice, vinegar before. So this can be really simple. If appetizers are going around, have cheese only first, a bite. Like, we're not talking about the wheel. A bit of the dip without the chip. Have vegetables in terms of fiber. Have some protein. My family always has like lox and cream cheese, or prosciutto, cured meats, meatballs, chicken wings, I don't know, whatever your family might have. But meat is a great move before we get to the carbohydrates. And then acid, citrus, vinegar. You could put that on top of something. That would be great. Walking after a meal is also a really great move. So if your family is inclined to do this, or if your family is agreeable to do it with you, it's a fantastic move. Our blood sugar rises 60 to 90 minutes after we eat. So when we move, our muscles are really consequential with managing our own blood sugar. So if we are in motion, we're helping to reabsorb, we're helping to utilize that blood sugar. So it helps to regulate it, therefore creating less of a need for a large amount of insulin. Insulin stores fat, insulin blocks fat from being used for fuel. So we want to have less of that in our system, and then we want to have it in our system less often, okay? And then lastly, finishing your day / your last meal with coffee once again, but of the decaffeinated version. So as fat burners, we are deliberate about staying under a certain threshold of caffeine, because caffeine can reinforce a sugar burning mode. So decaffeinated coffee can be a nice move when we're having a second cup of coffee, when we want to have coffee later at night, if we're sensitive to this. But anyway, decaffeinated coffee can just have a richness to it. It can feel kind of like luxurious and warm, comforting. It can be a great accompaniment to dessert, whether that is black, whether that is with half and half or some sort of, milk, heavy cream. But if you are hungry later in the evening, what ends up happening for a lot of people is we gorge ourselves during our feast, we swear off of food, and then hours later, we're in the kitchen making ourselves Thanksgiving sandwiches. And the deal is, we don't actually need more food, but we do want to eat. So a way to kind of cut that off at the pass and create a win-win situation is to give ourselves something, but not something that is high calorically, has any carbohydrates potentially, if we're just using heavy cream. And that's going to enable our blood sugar to stay down, insulin to not be released again, and for us to stay in this fasted state, making it to sleepy time, resting through the night, waking the next day. This is going to help our waistline, our blood sugar, our hormonal profile, so much more. And as fat burners, what we tend to do for holidays is we save a good amount of our bulletproof coffee for later in the day, for the evening, because basically we're not hungry earlier in the day. The better we are at burning fat, the less hungry we are in general, but always the less hungrier we are earlier in the day. So basically we can just use this tool later. And what that will enable us to do is to, once again, take the edge off a little bit if we're thinking about food, again, if we happen to be, and have all the same benefits that I just listed. Not raise our blood sugar, not release insulin, keep ourselves in a fasted state, and not have this another wallop of calories that we don't really need after a day of feasting. All right? I hope that was really freaking useful. I hope that seems understandable, and that you check these things out. I would love to hear if you do. And if you're someone that has had the buzzwords of metabolic health or flexibility or intermittent fasting, if those terms or tactics have seemed desirable and seductive to you, and you've potentially even tried to embark upon a lifestyle that involves them and have not had success, please check out the link in the description below. Please check out Fat Burning Pro. This is kind of meant to be one-stop shopping for one's waistline and health. It makes weight loss easier, more comfortable, more natural. We are designed for feast and famine. This is why holidays are no big deal for fat burners. We're designed to store the surplus of calories as fat, and then we're meant to work off of them later. And most people are really good at storing the fat and not so good at accessing it. So when you get groomed to burn your own fat, it's very easy to have a surplus of energy at your disposal, because that's how you're actually made. Okay, so if any of that is seductive, if you're someone that's been wishing to lose weight but struggling with the tactics that you've been taking, please check out Fat Burning Pro. Please check out Unbound Fit Found, and be in touch with any questions. All right, that's it. I hope you have an amazing holiday. Love to all, and until next time.